So I guess this will be a deep dive in the Internet of Things world. That we had several interesting introduction and a real experiment, or actually a real application. I will go through a quick overview. Who are we and the corporation we are part of, why we decided to go down the cloud. I mean, we manufacture gasoline pumps. So really, brick and mortar, you cannot imagine anymore, right? But we need the cloud. We think our future is cloud. Why and how we decided to do that? What stages and levels of value we envision in our roadmap to a full cloud-enabled offering for our customers. Our customers, just to be clear, are called Exxon, Shell, the 7 sisters or 8 or 9 around the world, right? So this is who we are. What are the key building blocks that we decided together with our, I have my guru too, our enterprise architect, Robert Hoffman, so he will answer to the tricky questions. And which vendors, why we ended up selecting WSO2 for our endeavor, and then I will go more through detailed slide, how our architecture looks like, what are the channels that we expose services, what APIs we have, and eventually next steps. That's me. I mean, I'm here live, so you will meet this. Been in this business for a long time, feel rather old. Given the average age of WSO2 people, it's impressive. Anyway, so that's who we are. Gas station. Any gas station in the world most likely has Gilbarco Veeder-Root equipment. What do we manufacture? Anything related to distribution of fuel and convenience store, or the small store that is in a gas station. So dispenser, payment solution. Whenever you go at the pump and you pay with your credit card, well, that's our solution. If it is a Gilbarco dispenser, we are the largest in the world. Point of sale, you go inside, you buy Coca-Cola or whatever, that's our device. We have, only in the US, more than 30,000 point of sale, and you go to 7-Eleven or other large chains that use our equipment. Tank gauge system, they measure how much fuel there is underground, so there is a complex reconciliation. You know, fuel is quite expensive, so customers do want to know where it is, and many other components, including real-time merchandising, fuel management. So very soon you will go, thanks to the cloud actually, to a gasoline pumps, and the screen will say, would you like to buy this stuff? And if you say yes, you will get, maybe you also would like this, right? That's the end vision where we are working. Because really, I mean, with our immense presence in gasoline dispensing, everybody touches our equipment around the world. We are a global company. And we are everywhere in the world, more than 4,000 employees, and as you can tell, I'm originally from Italy. And so, have you ever used Gilbarco Veeder-Root products? Well, maybe you have seen this kind of gasoline dispenser. That's one of our models of brands. So, any gas station, Sheetz is one of our largest customers here in the US. Again, we go in China, PetroChina, and Italy or whatsoever. So we do have in this very, very vertical niche more than 50% of market share, so they are actually the leader in the world. And actually General Electric owned our biggest competitor until a few months ago. Only in the US there are 120,000 stations, and I believe our equipment is at least in 95,000. In the world, there are in total 4 million gas stations. Gilbarco is heavily present in at least 500,000 of those stations. So it's a huge install base. And you may think, just to give you a sense, that 5% of the global credit transaction with credit cards goes to our pumps, which is kind of surprising, right? And, well, you know how much the gas costs, so that's a lot of money. Our company is actually part of a large industrial conglomerate, a Fortune 500 company called Danaher. Danaher is not known because it's not a commercial brand, but maybe some of you may have heard companies like Tektronix, oscilloscopes, or Fluke, measuring instruments, or companies in biomedical, companies in digital printing. When you see a Coke can and there is the number with the expiry date or that kind of things, with little dots, that's a company called Videojet that makes those inkjet printer that can print from half a meter distance from the Coke at an amazing speed. So kind of cool stuff. With Gilbarco, we are in the environmental section, which seems to be a contradiction, but we do actually we do our best to avoid pollution and all that stuff, and we don't burn the fuel. Somebody else does, but obviously that's a joke. So the business scenario for our company, as I mentioned, is we have a huge installed base across all the continents. And there is a growing cost of maintenance, support, and often the organization that we use to avoid failures, right? Reducing downtime, as the GE speaker mentioned, it is a problem that is very costly, and we do not have means today to predict when that failure will happen. Also, as in many other businesses, retailers, big oil companies or franchisee want to deploy new campaign, new digital advertisement application, and so they are demanding continuously changes in the software. Hence, deploying the software in a mostly not connected install base is a huge problem that probably applies to many other industrial segments. Also, developing this complex software, more and more complex with payment and again digital information, out-of-home digital application is very expensive in embedded systems. So that's the other element. We do need to move development somewhere else, maybe in the cloud. And of course, there are overall megatrends. The connected world is real, so any healthy company needs to figure out how to leverage that and create valuable service that go way beyond the commoditization that any brick-and-mortar business at some point in time is going to face. So essentially, we quickly decided that strategically we do want to move the brain of our products in the cloud, kind of a cloud world, or the old mainframe transferred into the cloud brains, and hence, given the sheer number of devices, we do need a very powerful and scalable cloud infrastructure capable of processing a huge quantity of data, really big data. If you think of 500,000 stations and each of them with 10 dispensers, and the gasoline dispenser is one of the elements, you are talking about average 9 petabytes of data per year, or 25 terabytes per day. So it becomes a reasonable quantity of data to handle. So clearly a unique opportunity also to leverage that access point if I know who you are. And actually I know when you swipe your card, and I can send you the message that you may want, which could be branding, could be Coca-Cola advertisement. There is a huge value for our retailers, so a great opportunity. And hence, besides the more obvious and very short-sighted increase of time, that's kind of the obvious achievement of a cloud infrastructure. Really the value is new services, then you end up developing new business models that, again, will create a bright future to our organization as well as any other organization that is planning really ahead. So no doubt that we had to move into the cloud. So our cloud vision, you see example of our devices. Actually, each of the devices could be a truck dispatching fuel to a gas station with real-time geofencing. We heard the WSO2 working on geofencing. We do have in our a company specializing in geofencing application for trucks called Navman, so we can integrate that information together with the authorization from the driver, so we want to verify that operation are done without fraud. I mean, fraud is kind of one of the huge things in our business, besides uptime and efficiency of the equipment. And going ahead, including even the car, because obviously car to dispenser communication is kind of an obvious consequence of all this infrastructure, handheld point of sale, all with the secure connection to the cloud. We have heard several comments around security. Well, we process payment. We must provide the security for compliance to international standard called PCI Council. So our payment equipment is ultra secure. And when I say ultra secure, contains anti-tampering microcontrollers, a special silicon that if you try to poke holes or do strange stuff, it will destroy the data. So our decision is to use this ultra-secure technology to protect the connection, also the connection with the cloud, for any single device connected. So either the device has already that native anti-tampering controller, or we will add a secure dongle, a secure add-on that will contain that special device, that will contain a private key to use a full mutual authentication with the server, and we are going through WSO2 identity server. So security first. If you put on the cloud tens of millions of devices, you will be hacked. You will have attempts. That's a certainty, as well as the server. But first of all, avoid attacks on the devices. The devices are out there. Maintenance people, you don't know who they are. They change job. They can steal one device. Well, if they will steal one of our devices, they will never get the secrets. So we don't believe that much in just software encryption. Hardware encryption is the ultimate need for a secure cloud connection. So we believe that with this infrastructure, we'll of course host a customer portal that commercially we have called Insight 360 with a bunch of services for the various devices that we are hosting, and on top of that, data and analytics services that will for sure unleash predictive maintenance. We are very interested in this latest development from WSO2, which is machine learning. Actually, we asked them to be one of the first experimenting their platform. And so we expect various elements of value, faster time to market, and as I say, the more obvious uptime, increasing uptime is a quick catch. But we do envision a growing curve or value over time. So the foundation where you connect the devices, you get the real-time software download, all the obvious stuff, is really the very bottom. And I do believe that very soon in any industry, that layer of value that today you could monetize in a contract or extended warranty, right? It will be commoditized because it will become obvious for everybody. So very quickly, we plan to grow through an increasing value curve through level 2, where in our business will be improved fraud detection and actually predictive analytics, predictive maintenance. So we will send the technician before the pump goes down, exactly what the speaker mentioned, and that will enable for us a new product. So the product will run in the cloud, not in device. To go to higher level, like level 3, mobile payment, you at the pump, you scan a QR code, and you pay with PayPal without touching anything. And if we have time, I will show a quick demo. To go even higher is targeted advertisement and targeted suggested selling, kind of example. You also like the application on Amazon. That's what our retailers are asking us, our customers, right? So either you create an infrastructure that can scale for the sheer volume, or you are outside of the game, or as often happens as a brick and mortar industry, you will be commoditized and other cool industries will come and offer on top of your metal boxes those services. So we will not let that happen. And hence, just to visualize, you may have a station in the US, another station in India. They will all connect to one cloud based on WSO2, of course, multi-tenant, and I will explain even more. And you may think as basic application, you have technician dispatching, so they will go either when the fault arrives or preventive, and a set of dashboard. Actually, this dashboard have been implemented with Splunk. We are kind of prototyping with them, and we are very interested though in testing what we can do with CEP and with BAM. Probably most of what we are right now doing with Splunk. And of course, interconnection with all the major retailers, oil companies, or provider of services. That was level 1, connectivity. Level 3, still leverage the same infrastructure. The example here is mobile payment. As a customer, you have your app, and you may just, with Apple Pay, close enough to scan your phone, and the back end, through our site equipment, goes to the cloud, goes to the bank, or whatever Apple Pay support, or PayPal, and all the transaction through a mediator running in an ESP in WSO2 goes to, with a specific protocol of the payment provider, and then gets back to the customer on his mobile phone, and at the same time reaches the automation system to release the transaction. And all that, of course, has to be absolutely real time. And we have been the first in the world developing this technology. So our cloud, which runs on Amazon as default, but we do like and do appreciate the capability of WSO2 to run in private networks. Some of our customers may be quite sensitive in terms of the privacy of their information, but we do believe they will like that service. Has fundamentally 4 major channels, which are sets of APIs. One is the site gateway, where you have these very secure devices using secure WebSocket and mutual authentication to be connected in real time to the cloud. So something happens, a message is instantly fired to the cloud, so they're always on. And then you have on top the end user portal, and you may think of 2 major categories of user. One is the end customer, the person that with the cell phone is trying to buy gas in that scenario, or looking at advertisement. So all that will be dispatched through a virtual channel from the device to the screen, the dispenser. And of course you have the consumer portal inside 360. Part of that portal you have the maintenance people, and of course with a single sign-on and fine-tuning of the right access, you have different capabilities for all these users, so they will be able to do whatever they have to do. And on the side you have the partner channel, so it's another set of mediators that will adapt our internal transaction flow for various applications like mobile payment to translate the transaction to the end user. As I say, at PayPal, there is a big organization for mobile payment called MCX. You may think Walmart is one of the organizations that will enable to pay the food and stuff with mobile payment. And there is another side channel, which is, of course, support and governance, which is mostly for our technicians. So why did Gilbarco select the WSO2? You see kind of the pieces that we are using today. We will actually plan to use more. Well, there is no doubt that WSO2 is a visionary company, and we like when we jump on the wagon really to get on the best one available. And very modern, ground-up design architecture, open source, and of course that helps when you are ramping up a business. You don't want to start spending with the shelf stuff with IBM or those guys a bunch of money. Maybe later on, but we don't think so. And can run in private network, which is definitely a requirement for us, and excellent professional services. Besides Robert, pretty much nobody knew a lot in our company about cloud, so we hired several of the experts of this great professional from WSO2, and they helped us bootstrapping our internal people. Of course, the goal for any organization is to leverage your know-how. You cannot fully outsource that development, or you lose your strategic goal to sustain this over time. So it takes a while, but WSO2 has been great at helping us, and they still are, and they have been available actually to do changes, customization that will end up being in the open source for us. And we are also using some other component like ActiveMQ, waiting for a more effective, faster queuing system from WSO2, apparently will come very soon, and so far. And I mentioned Splunk, but we may change. This is a more detailed vision of the architecture, and essentially you have an API manager, an identity server, and essentially you can fine-tune for each API call the access to the services to the device. The device will have a product very similar to what actually it was intriguing to see how WSO2 is actually planning to implement this. I mean, too late, guys. Should have done a little earlier. We would have avoided this effort. We are implementing a centralized device manager practically with the discovery and publishing mechanism. So each device will advertise to the server what kind of capability it has, and then the server will be able to push commands to execute all kind of stuff. We need to reboot the devices. That enters in the specific of the device. But the protocol is actually very generic. It's probably 5 or 6 core APIs that we are exposing in full security through the identity server. And again, Robert can for sure elaborate much more than me. We are using ESB to decouple essentially the endpoint from the entry point, and in some case to translate and reformat the data, and this applies to all the channels. So if you enter from the app or from the partner channel, pretty much we get the same approach. And we are using the data services, the server, and we are planning to use very soon, I believe, CP and BAM. But first, we need to build the core infrastructure. Then we will build the analytics. So again, we are a little bit behind other estimate speakers' application, but we are surely going down that path. You must consider that once you have pumps, devices that are in the forecourt, today they're not connected, they're not even TCP/IP capable, right? So the concept of a proxy that I heard mentioned is true. We are building special proxies that are also extremely secure, to the point I mentioned before. So it does require quite a bit of technical development to make that happen, but there is no doubt that we are doing that. And I mentioned how WSO2 has helped Gilbarco. We had, because of our client, you may think of Exxon, right? I mean, a large company, and they have a headquarters, and then they have organization in each individual countries. And in each country, they may have sub-organization or other retailers that use their brands, like jobbers. So a simple one-layer multi-tenant was not enough for us. We need to give our customer the ability to create sub-tenants. And there was also another additional element that we call delegation. Some of these customers, that they have equipment out there, may want to delegate a service organization or a third-party organization to do something that require access to their infrastructure and their data. So within that tenant, you have to create a capability to access only that level of tenancy data, and if needed, cut that wire if they decide to switch. So WSO2 really did a great job. Actually, they delivered on time too. This new feature, we are still in the process of testing, and I believe the hierarchical multi-tenancy eventually will be part of the public platform. I'm not sure about the delegation. It's probably a very peculiar need, but what I want to say that really they have been a key to enable this for us, and for us it's an essential element. And both hierarchical multi-tenancy and delegation are not features that you find in the market. So definitely a very positive relationship. And that's how the solution look like. Really, this is where I get lost, so Robert can help, but essentially are changes in the API manager and the identity server that WSO2 did to enable this hierarchical level of access and the restriction of both data and services. And so, to get quickly to an end, as I think time goes by, next step, we are completing the level 1, that foundational infrastructure and connectivity, by the end of this year. So we will go live in Q1 2015, running on Amazon. And we will start launching these services. Some of them are already in the market, actually. For devices, our point of sale was already, of course, it's a PC-based application, so already connected. So we have a cloud-based application to remote configure the device. All the other will be available next year across the world. And as I mentioned, we will for sure evaluate WSO2 analytics services and real-time dispatching of alert, and we are definitely ready to enjoy the benefits of big data. And that would be it. So if there are any questions, I will be more than glad.
I have a question.
Sure.
Can you talk a little bit more about your use of the identity server? I was just wondering, you mentioned LDAP and Active Directory for authentication, and for the authorization, you're using permissions through the identity server. So I was wondering if you had legacy systems for permissions as well. You migrated everything. How did you approach that?
Well, in front of any legacy service, wherever the legacy device is not able to process that stuff, we will add a proxy that will process that.
Oh. So we leverage the API manager and also the ESP. So we put an ESP in front of any of the existing services so that we can apply certain restrictions, security, apply any data restrictions. So that the existing service that's already been built and is already in production, we can start applying some of the identity and restrictions and authentication before so we don't have to change the backend.
Well, I'm interested in as you build this platform, when you get to those lowest level devices, the in-pump payment systems and stuff, is there a lot of are you going to have to replace a lot of those devices to add more sensors and capabilities? So
we will add more sensoring capability. As I mentioned, first of all, you need to add for very, very embedded devices the means to connect to the cloud. Honestly, our preferred approach is to avoid the centralized proxy because we don't have a unified architecture of sites around the world. So in our vision, which is slightly different maybe from the preferred WSO2 vision, each device should be independently connected to the cloud, hence have its own certificate. Then you will have a network access gateway, which would be a 3G, 4G model. By the time you add that small device, it's a very small embedded device, you may think kind of a Raspberry Pi type of, but secure. At that point, we also add additional I/O that will allow to add sensors that definitely are missing. Once you go down the path of the predictive analytic, very soon you will become hungry of new information that will allow the next level of prediction. Today we have a limited number of sensors. We do have several, so we can start in the prediction right away, but I think we may want to add more. Also for security purposes, once everything is connected, the technician opens the door of the dispenser for maintenance. Well, we want to fire an alarm and maybe authorize the technician to change the parts and stuff like that.
Any last question?
Yeah, question about security.
Yes.
At the pumps, there's radio, two-way radio, there's cameras in some areas.
There are cameras, and actually the feed could be integrated in all these.
Okay.
We are not doing that, but it could very easily using some smart video surveillance system integrated in all that. All right.
Thank you. That was good.
Thank you very much.
Insurance.